And I know a lot of people write. I've heard a lot of authors, they write several different books at once, or they work on one for a while and then they go to the other. I can't even imagine that. I mean, when I was writing Summer of Luck, I envisioned it as a series, with a couple of sequels, but I still really thought that was all I had to say, and I couldn't imagine necessarily writing another book. But of course, here I am, my second book almost finished, and because it's the same characters and everything, and similar setting, I thought, well, maybe that's the only story I ever have to tell is Justin, Darby, and Naz. But now I had this idea the other day, spontaneously, like, of another story that is not about these three kids, and maybe it's not even middle grade. I don't know. But I'm going to see what happens with that. I mean, that's why it's so much fun to write, because, there's no, you're not in a box. You get to write about whatever comes out of your head. I know you write a lot of different genres.
I try to. Keeps it fun and interesting, and at the end of the day, the number one person I'm writing for is mostly me. I've got some esteemed readers in mind always, but if I'm not happy, then what are we doing here?
Exactly. And that's it. It's like, that's me finding my voice of telling the story of Summer of Luck, and then the story of Justin in book 2. And, we're going to go back to Darby's voice in book 3. I don't know what the story is going to be.
No, without spoiling, obviously, but how much do you know about book 3, writing book 2, and how much are you going to hate yourself if you don't set your third book up nicely in book 2?
The vision that I have for book 3 is that this whole, well, I'm not going to say this until I finish book 2, but it's going to be a whole other story, and it's not going to take place at camp, and it's not going to have much of Justin and Naz in it. It's going to be a Darby story.
Oh, so you've got pretty wide freedom then going into book 3.
Yeah. I have no idea what direction it's going to take, but I'll find out, like I said.
So having just written the third of the Banneker's, I had the experience of hating past me. Why didn't you set me up better? Now I have to do extra setup here to cap this off. Let's see. I'm looking at our time, flying by as it always does. Quick pivot, and then we'll make good on my promise, and we'll talk about your promotion plan for Summer of Luck. But before we do that, Laura Stegman, have you ever seen a flying saucer and or a ghost?
I've seen Mr. Usher, Leroy Usher, Carnival King. He's the ghost.
Like in real life, you saw something that inspired him, or just in your imagination?
No, but I was looking forward to you asking me this question about the flying saucers, because, again, aging myself, no, I've never seen a flying saucer or a ghost. But when I was a kid at Disneyland, they had this ride, Flying Saucers. And it was the most fun ride. It was like a bumper boats, but they were in the shape of flying saucers, and you would lean, and the air would come up, and that's how you would move. It was such a fun ride. And that's my flying saucer story. So I've never seen a real one, but I've seen those.
I know Walt Disney was said to have been have a keen interest in flying saucers, because of course there were a couple of different cartoons that he went on to inspire. Then there were also a couple of episodes of the Magical World of Disney. I think that's the show where he came on and narrated before the start. They just did straight UFO documentaries before there were regular UFO documentaries, and that was part of the Wonderful World of Disney.
Interesting. Well, he had a lot of interests that were you know, he was interested in trains. He was interested in trains. I can't think of anything else. But he obviously had quite
Opium.
an imagination.
But also animation and musicals. Or so I've always been told. That's part of what Fantasia was about. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah. What an imagination. Yeah.
I tell you what, Mr. Disney, when you get thawed out, if you hear this and you'd like to come set the record straight, you are welcome on the show.
Clear your name. Yeah.